All right, well, that's a great shot of David walking by the beach. It was shot a few years ago. Yeah. He looks a little bit older now, but you know, David has had a great passion that the media engage beauty, that it remembers how much a picture shapes an imagination. And that's just a little segue we're going to do into the arts right now. Because part of celebrating Canada's 150th anniversary is we want to celebrate the arts in Canada. We've talked to you about politics, about the economy, the spiritual needs that Canadians have. But it is amazing how much the artistic community bridges into all of those things. So tell us about our panel today.
You know what? I love it when we get to talk about creative people. I like to pretend that I'm a creative person. I'm more of a singer than I'm anything else.
Oh, yes.
But when you surround, there's an energy from people that love the arts. I'm so grateful that you guys are here to talk about the arts and our faith. I think that's such an important tie-in because the arts can say something that sometimes our theology or our doctrine can't.
Yeah, and so we have Chris Cuthill, who's a beautiful artist himself and has taught art history. Yep. We have Christina Crook, who worked with me at Context back in Toronto, and you've written a wonderful book, The Joy of Missing Out, and does a lot of work on challenging us in social media. And we have Dueck, who is the managing editor of Comment magazine. If you're not reading Comment, you should be. It helps you think big, and you're a senior research fellow at Cardis. So, Chris, let's start with you. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, my kid's going to go into the arts. That'll buy me a small pizza. That'll buy them a small pizza, right? A painting and it gets you. But really, tell us why it's so valuable to invest in the arts in our life.
It's important because it's part of who we are as human beings, and if we are, I think if we're not nurturing the arts in an explicit way, we will be influenced by the aesthetic in ways in which we're unconscious of. So, you know, the aesthetic is part of who we are, and the folks on Madison Avenue are all too willing to exploit that if we are not consciously engaging that side of ourselves as human beings.
Yeah, so the pictures you see, the images you see, they are very spiritual, aren't they?
It's in the shape of the shampoo bottle on the shelf. It's in the music that's playing in the background as we're shopping. It's all around us, and we need to be aware of how that side of ourselves works and is an integral part of what it means to be human.
I think we've often discounted the impact of arts. And I think coming from a person that grew up in the church, sometimes the arts were discounted if they weren't done in maybe a Christian context. But how have you experienced arts outside of a Christian context saying, there's beauty there, there's God in that art, isn't there?
I can answer that. In my neighborhood, so I live in the Junction in Toronto, a very vibrant area with a lot of artists. And I'm walking along the street one day and I look below my feet and I see the letter K sort of etched out in color on the sidewalk. And I walk a little further and there's an L. And it turns out that an artist, who I'm sure was not paid or commissioned to do so, had in fact done the entire alphabet across our entire neighborhood. And I think about that and I think, that's a prophetic act. That's a prophetic act to actually believe that the thing that they're creating could speak to someone, could create beauty in their community, could create a conversation. I can talk to my kids about the letter on the ground. I think that there's artists all around us that are thinking deeply about big questions and what they believe. And I think the arts are very alive and well. And I personally know a lot of artists who are Christians that are at work very much professing their Christian faith publicly and others more quietly.
Dueck, you've got a contest going, the Golden Thread contest, where you want people under 30 to write. We all know somebody under 30. Why? Why are you inspiring that?
Yeah, so the Golden Thread contest is building off of Pierre Elliott Trudeau's line, there's a golden thread of faith that sort of binds us all together. And one of the things that we're interested in with the Faith in Canada 150 initiative is to tell these stories. And it's amazing that so much of our life that we just sort of take for granted is embedded in stories that are connected to faith. One interesting one that we came across was the Eaton Center. Eaton, who actually was an Irish immigrant, a Catholic Irish immigrant, who worked in a grocery store in Ireland with horrific working conditions, actually had to sleep in the store, worked many hours. He came here and said, we can do it differently, and set established hours, and actually brought the idea of the dignity of the human into the world of commerce. And I think many people who walk through the Eaton Center in Toronto don't know that that's actually one of these stories of faith.
And I love it that Mr. Timothy Eaton shut the curtains on Sunday, big black curtains, because you were supposed to let your imagination think about things other than commerce. And buy. Rest it, let it have a Sabbath, and let it enjoy God's beauty. It's remarkable. Nature is all around. Christina, you have challenged, and we're going to be back with this panel in just a moment, but you're a writer, you're a poet. Why do I need beauty?
Oh, I think beauty is a window into the divine. You know, I think that there's a way to see the creative act, to see beauty as a window into truth. And in a culture that's so saturated with information, and a lot of it is through words, right? I mean, we have these one-off memes that pop up on social media, but it's a lot of words, and there's something about beauty that I think is a window into experiencing something greater than who we are.
Beauty will save the world. I think you guys both had a debate about that phrase. It's actually a fridge magnet on my fridge. Beauty will save the world. We're going to be back and unpack that a little bit right after this.